Welcome back to the final segment of the show here today on Investing and Trading Live. My name is Josh Lillquist, and we are an educator at Online Trading Academy that trains people how to trade and invest. They're the sponsor of the show, and over 25 years, Al. I mean, that's a long time for any company, but teaching different skills and strategies. But the pretty cool thing about that, Al, is strategies change over time. What I mean by that is things that happened and worked 20 years ago probably didn't. And that's why the education has evolved over 25 years, teaching you skills and techniques that are applied in the markets now, what's happening now, great volatility, great moves in the markets, kind of a sideways markets. There's strategies for these sideways markets and these down markets. So that's what Online Trading Academy does, is teaches skills and techniques on how to use the markets to your benefit. If you missed tickets for that investing class to be introduced to some of the concepts we're talking about here today, just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210. Al, it was pretty cool. I was talking with a friend last week, and they were talking about, man, how long have you guys been on the radio talking about the stock market? And I don't know, I can't even remember how many years, but we're on the podcast. We're on episode... And we've only been recording the podcast for, 2 years now?
Just a while, right?
And we're on episode 726, I believe. I mean, crazy. And that's the great thing about doing the show, Al, is we're consistently delivering the same type of message. And a lot of people are coming in and saying, you know what, I've been hearing you guys on the radio talking about the markets, and I just didn't know what it was all about. And they want to see what it's all about. And that's why we have these investing classes. We're a local place to go at Online Trading Academy to learn about how the markets work, how they function, but really how to make smart investing decisions. So just simply text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. But Al, in that last segment, you talked about income strategies with all assets. We've been talking a little bit about wealth strategies. We kind of tied that in there with, brokers and advisors and what they're training and conditioning people to think and do, which, as we know, and if you talk to anybody between 50 and 80 years old, it didn't work for them, so why would things change? The great thing is it's taught people how to save, and that's about it, which is a phenomenal thing. Mm-hmm. So people want to do things on their own now. There's more stuff out there in people's everyday lives that you can control more now. And you can control your accounts. You can control your 401ks. You can control your IRAs. There's different ways to set them up, whether it's self-directed or even just control it or manage it through your work, or you're a broker or advisor. You don't have to always take it and do it yourself. You can advise them on what to do.
That's correct. Some people prefer just to learn so they can have a better conversation with a broker.
Yeah, but really, we've taken the guesswork out of that, Al, because we have a lot of conversations with people come to these classes and they say, I just don't know what to do. What are the steps? I don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. That's why you need a step-by-step plan. You don't have to design that plan because it's already designed for you. And I'll talk about why it's so important to have a step-by-step plan in your investments.
Well, you know what? You need to have a plan that basically covers everything. You had mentioned, Josh, that things have changed. The way that people made money and invested years ago might not be working for you now. We talked about the 401ks and the buy and hold strategies that have you flat to down over the last 2 years. And what if that continues? We've talked for quite a while about the potential for maybe a flat market for a number of years. The chief equity strategist at Stifel, Barry Bannister, says the market's on a road to nowhere for almost the next decade. He thinks in 2031, it's going to be where it was in 2021. That's 10 years, a decade of lost time.
That's kind of like that song, Country Roads. Country roads take me home to a place nowhere.
You've got to change the words a little bit to make it fit.
Exactly.
But the point is that it doesn't make any difference. If the market is flat, it doesn't mean that it trades at the same level every day. There are opportunities pretty much on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis for you to take advantage of. Even if the market stays flat, it doesn't mean that the opportunities aren't there. So a plan, a trading plan, education plan should have in it the strategies and the assets that you can use so you can benefit whether the market continues to go down or whether it reverses and goes up again, or if it's just flat. And what's the right asset for you? As I mentioned earlier, what you trade and the way you trade and the time frame within which you're trading may be totally different than your next door neighbor or your brother or your sister. What you should do is work with somebody that will help you put together a plan that's specific to you, that takes into consideration where you are now financially and where you want to be in the future. How do you get there? How do you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be the most effective and efficient way possible?
And here's an example to this, Al. I was just thinking about what's something we can compare this to. Getting in shape. Of a personal trainer is going to make a different physical fitness plan for me than for you. Because I may require a heck of a lot more food. I may need this. I may need to do that. And you're going to need to do different things as well.
Or you may be hopeless and they'll tell you, don't bother coming back.
You're probably right. It's all that Burger King and McDonald's I've been eating. But so that may be an option. And that's the thing in the markets is you need a plan specific for you based on what your goal or objective is. Because, Al, your goal or objective as far as physical fitness is going to be totally different than mine, right? And that's what you need in the financial market, something that's designed for you. Now, what are some steps or what are some thoughts or processes that you need within these steps?
Yeah, the first thing you need to do is identify what your goals are so you can identify or have us help identify what is the right way for you to get those or achieve those goals. It's going to be through education. It's going to be through knowledge. You have to have the right knowledge because, we're not going to move in with you and show you how to trade every day or how to invest. This is something that we're going to teach you how to do so you don't need to rely on somebody else. But it's knowledge, it's education, it's skills to properly use that knowledge. And if you look at people that are truly successful as far as traders and investors, one person that comes to mind is Paul Tudor Jones.
Yep.
Paul Tudor Jones had 28 years with his hedge fund without a losing year. And he really became famous back in 1987, Black Monday, when the Dow was down 22% in one day, the biggest drop down, and that was in October. In October, he was up 62% when the market was down one day 22%. The point here is that this is a quote from him. The secret to being successful from a trading perspective is to have an indefatigable and an undying and unquenchable thirst for information and knowledge. And that's really important. I mean, the knowledge is there. It's not something you have to go seek out. That's what we do. We provide that knowledge. So, the beginning for you may be to come into one of these 2-hour classes and see if this is right for you. If it is, and you want to take the next step and go a little bit deeper into the knowledge, we can help you with that. And as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't make any difference. We don't have a bias as to what you trade or how you trade. Our bias is just to help you do it in a way that you are successful, the odds are in your favor, and you can do it regardless of what's happening in these markets. But that's all part of a plan that we will help you put together. That plan should contain enough information and enough knowledge on the different assets and strategies. So regardless of what's happening in the economy and the market, you don't have to go, what do I do now? I don't know what to do, because it's in your plan.
Yeah, and just to elaborate a little bit more about having a personal trainer as the example. If you're, say, in your 40s right now, you're going to have a different plan than somebody that's late 50s, early 60s. Because just by guessing here, most 40-year-olds are still building for retirement. Mm-hmm. They need the income style assets. They might need to use leverage to build those assets to get to that point to where they're in their 50s or 60s and they want to be able to retire and have enough. So that 60-year-old person may be just protection mode, but also continuing to grow because let's just say they don't have enough. There are skills and techniques to use what you have in your accounts to have the opportunity to continue to build those. So rather than just drawing that down at that time, first protect it and then continue to replenish. There's strategies that are designed for that. So you're going to have a different strategy than somebody else. You were mentioning, brokers and advisors, and I'm not talking down on these people. I just want to make sure I say that. It's the business. They have something that covers everything, which means they just do one strategy and they think it's for everybody. It's not designed for everybody. It's designed for them to make it easy and just put everybody in the same investments, put cool words around them, risky, non-risky, growth, whatever you want to call that. There's many, many terms that come along with that. But if you don't have the right strategies for you, it might be difficult. Learn these techniques now. Learn them while you can. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, learn these now because you may have 20, 30 years to go.
Right.
Text the word investing to see what these concepts are. Al has, 40 years experience in the markets? I mean, learn what these are to see what the opportunities are for you and your family. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. Al, hit him up with today's OTA tip of the week.
Why not make this the year that the markets don't control your portfolio? Make it the year you control how you use the market so you take control of your portfolio performance. Remember, whatever you're not changing, you're making a choice. That's a choice you've made. So don't let outside situations control your emotions and your actions. Start taking responsibility for your life because you're the only one that's going to do it.
I like that. I was just thinking, you kicked that OTA tip of the week off with you. It's your life, your finances. I was trying to count as you were saying there. You mentioned the word you or your. It was about 8 times. I might be off by 1 or 2.
Intentionally, yes.
This is for you. This is your finances. This is your financial future. But also, this is also your families as well. If you want to build a legacy or build opportunities for help your family out, you might need to do different things. Come to one of these classes, check out these concepts. It may be for you, it may not be for you. At least you can decide. Text investing to the number 210. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.